You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Michael from Arizona. With me always are my good friends.
Hey, it's Jake, flying high when you're living down in the low country of South Carolina.
Nailed it. And Shannon G and Mesa Easy. Good job.
You can tell he's been practicing.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast. We appreciate your patronage. Thank you very much for joining us. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Check out our YouTube channel. We've kind of gotten a little bit better. The system that we're using kind of uploads that on time, so we're not having to, do as much. And we appreciate you making comments on it too. I have to say that I kind of get back a little later. Sometimes I'll make a comment and I don't get to it right away. So please, forgive me for that because we've got a lot of stuff going on. But somebody had mentioned on one of our last episodes, I had said I got a comp ARF. And they were like, oh, yeah, comp ARF. If you're looking for the reference, it's actually CARF models. So it's CARF. It's just been one of those things for the last 20 years. We've called it comp ARF, but they're composite ARF, composite, almost ready to fly airplanes. And
this is a tough word, man. If you don't get this terminology down right, you will pay for it.
They're worse than Star Trek fans,
Yeah. Well, we got busted.
In episode 17, you didn't say
I know. Right? We got railed on when AK Mike and Jay were using the term escapes, because it was ESCs, and we got corrected a couple of times. So we always appreciate everybody, giving us the ribbing. We enjoy it. And yes, it is our little, kind of our little vocabulary where we throw it at each other. But we do know what we're talking about, which sometimes we just shorten things up. So yeah, this is a good episode. We got the summer coming in, and things are kind of wrapping up here where we are. I think my family has some travel that's coming up, so we're going to be kind of in and out. But yeah, this is a special month for us, for at least two of us, right, Jay?
That's right. Doubleheader this month.
Yeah, actually, in a few days.
Birthday to Mike and Mike.
Yes.
Since they're both tied into the month of May, and
on the same day, actually.
This year was actually kind of a hard year to get you things.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, not you, Moan, because we could have sent you socks and that would have been great because we could have sent you anything. That's the nice part about you. But I'm just talking about getting things. It was just hard to get all the stuff in that I saw some stuff that I wanted to get way ahead of time, ordered it, so it was coming in. And then a bunch of stuff just said, I don't know if it's the whole embargo stuff that's going on, but
I don't know.
A bunch of stuff I wanted didn't come in, and, had to turn around and go with my plan B. So, everybody got their gifts on time. Although you probably noticed yours got kind of laid out, in the middle of April through May. So it took a little while to get to you. But
these boxes, I'd be like, is this part of the other? He'll be like, yeah, it's all connected. So
Part B.
Yes. Yep. First part. D. Where'd it go? Well, I know AK Mike called me the other day and he said, hey, did you get your package? And I was like, no, nothing showed up. He's like, well, it says it was delivered. I said, well, I haven't checked the mail yet. He goes, well, I apologize because the other one got canceled. I was like, oh, great. So, yeah, we got to love them. We try. It's the effort that counts. It really is. It's the effort that counts. And,
here's your birthday song.
Yeah, you're right. I could have got a pair of socks and it would have just been fine because there's really not much I don't have really much right now.
So anything. Look, I sent you this keychain. Oh,
exactly.
I sent you a Def Leppard t-shirt. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Def Leppard t-shirt. I've been wearing it every day too. That's the funny part. Well, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. I think AK Mike and I share the same day. So it's on the 14th, which is coming up in a couple of days when you're hearing this. And then, we're excited to hear from Shannon because he got to go to EJet Days. And unfortunately, I was out and I had made a trip out to the coast to see the kids. So I thought I was going, and then it turned out that I wasn't. So we wound up, while you were at EJ's, we wound up at Mickey's Playhouse in Disneyland. And so
gladly treated you.
I don't know. It was one of those where we went because the kids have, now that they're there, they bought like a season pass. Yeah. And it was one of those special weekends where I know like they do these groups that show up, and it was Wiccan weekend.
Oh, okay.
So the kids were a little kind of taken back with, which, I mean, I'm not saying anything bad or good or whatever, but, the kids were kind of confused about all these Wiccans watching around.
Gotcha. It's a little,
like, is it
just villains?
I'm like, no, it's
like
not.
Cruella
No.
DeVille and,
Yeah, Cruella DeVille. Yes. There's a lot of Black Goth, Batman, that kind of thing. So, which it was great. I mean, I wasn't complaining about it. It was kind of a fun to see them, and they all got on the big over Disneyland. There's a like a boat that goes around what do they call those things with the big paddle wheel boats?
Tom Sawyer's Island.
Yes, Tom Sawyer's Island. And anyway, they had all met there. And so they filled the whole boat first and second. Then they were waving at everybody and saying, hey. So it was kind of fun. The girls kind of thought it was cool, but they were just a little confused, because every time somebody would walk by, they'd be like, do they work here? And I'm like, no, that's not a character. It's just somebody here. Don't ask them for their balloons.
We could do a whole nother podcast about me and Disney because I have a long history with that.
Oh, there you go. Didn't you? Were you employed over there at some point?
No, so it was just back when me and my wife both worked for airlines over the years, and just with our daughter, we had annual passes for 20 years.
Okay. Yeah,
and including we had actually had annual passes for Florida, Walt Disney World for a couple of years too, because I had the company I work for, and so I became this not even in my own mind, but in other people's like, oh, Shannon's like this expert. Everyone who was going to Disney, hey, how can I get this? How can I do that? So it was kind of fun to do that for 20 plus years, and then but I haven't been back in so many years. It's weird. I have a lot of friends that work there, and I have one of my best friends that still works there, and his wife both work there.
That's cool.
So, but yeah, I need to get back. It's been too long. So
yeah, it was fun. We had a good time with the kids. It was kind of our last day there before we came home. So she's like, should we get season passes? I was like, I don't know if I'm that excited. It's like
we should do a podcast
from there. Ragged.
RC.
Yeah, Disney, but it's different when you've got a 3-year-old or 4-year-old and a 1-year-old running around. It's like got to corral them around.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
So if you're just running
the first trip to take when I first took her daughter to Disneyland, like when she was like 6 months old.
Yeah.
Compared to the logistical nightmare that was, compared to like the last time we went, where it's like you're on your own. Go, get away. Go.
Good luck. Get out of here. That's too funny. Well, enough of our.
She was only 6 months old there.
We did. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, gives them something to remember.
No, it gives us something to remember that we.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, so give something to remember. Yeah, I can see the pictures. Oh yeah, thanks, Dad. I really enjoyed that. And then he took her to got back and took her to the RC field, so she remembers both very vividly.
Yeah,
that's funny. Well, let's see. Sorry about that. We're excited to hear about the EJet Days. Before we do that, we got a couple events coming up. I think Big Jolt 2 is coming up in June.
Big Jolt 2 is in May 29th and 30th.
28th. Yeah, 28th, 29th, 30th. That's at the end. Yep. And I'm sorry, it was the next one, Warbirds and Classics.
At Orange County Modelers. Yeah, June 5th.
Yeah, so, and that's over in California, I think.
Yeah, they're both in California. So one's at the Pomona Valley Model Pen Club. Great field. We went there. Was it last year? I think it was last year. Yeah, it was me and Matt and Craig, and we did a podcast.
We did the podcast there.
It was fun. And then we were going to go again, but my friend Craig had a conflict, and then we were all going to go for Warbirds and Classics, but Craig had a conflict that popped up, so me and Matt are still going.
Okay,
and,
perfect.
So
well, excellent. So,
yeah.
Well, good. We're looking forward to some on the job. It's actually worked out because Shannon's been doing really good going to these events and getting everything, while he's there. So that's been kind of cool. We're doing that again this week. So why don't you kind of kick us off, and then we'll jump out to the field and hear what you have to say, and then just come right back.
All right. So EJet Days, this was started years ago as a kind of a subset of the Arizona Jet Rally, just when we had some little changes. And we had 25 pilots this year, which was,
nice.
It was 25 or 26, which is pretty good. We hoped for a little bit more. And, there was like some people like just regular people that usually would show up, just things came up. That's this life. Because I was like, where were you? And you're like, oh, I had to go to Tucson, or I had to go do this. Okay, I got you. So, but weather was pretty good. It was a little breezy, but flyable, especially with jets, because you can get away with a little bit more with jets. And it was we had the Chicago dogs. They came out, good food, and we had as part of your entry, you got a free hot dog at least for one of the days. So that was kind of a good
pretty
deal.
Cool.
Yeah, good part of your entry fee.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's a good deal. Yeah, it's just it's hard to do for a lot of events though. I mean, this is kind of a smaller scale because it does eat away at the revenue for the
profits. Yeah.
The cool thing was we had just literally gotten our runway redone.
Oh, that's right. How'd that look?
Oh, it looks beautiful. It's absolutely wonderful. They did 2 coats of the HA5. The lines are painted really good.
Very nice.
They didn't, you think, they fill in every crack and it's flawless. Like, well, no, they don't fill in every crack because they expect there to be expansion. So like they fill in the big ones, but like, just a little like, hairline or, nickel line or whatever. It's like,
Didn't you guys just get the field redone just like a year or two ago?
Oh, no. So we redid the fence just recently. So like, but it's been several years since we redid it. But I mean, within the time you guys have been coming out to the field, it just didn't last. And that's the thing is we would get it resealed, and we were having to get it resealed every 5 years because it just between because we don't drive on it.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. And there's just no traffic because we added like there was a section between the parking blocks and like where you parked, like there was dirt. Now we paved that in the last time we did it. So we did, we had kind of a like a repaving of the infield is what we did, and a reseal of the runway. But this is supposed to last about 10 years. So and it's warranted and everything. And they moved out the lines for the pattern. The pattern guys are flying more from the edge of the the flight boxes rather than from the flight boxes themselves. So they moved those out, but and the X's are painted the right yellow now because they were white, but they were supposed to be yellow. So that's been fixed. Right. And then the double yellow line, kind of safety line, like double, it looks good now. Okay. But no, wonderful, feels good. Just nice to have that nice smooth surface to land on. So
absolutely.
But I'll let my little visit with the CD kind of talk about some more of it, and then I've got a little bit at the end I'll bring up.
Cool. Yeah. So Bob Ruff was the CD, if I'm not mistaken. He has put that together a couple different times.
Bob's been running it. Yeah. And then well, here was funny. So James Lashman was listed as the co-CD, and then James didn't show up on Friday, and we've texted him and whatnot. I was like, James, where you at? And I've been this co-CD before, and I was like, okay, I did registration. Just I'm there.
Right.
So my first assumption was that James went to California Jets, which was the same weekend up in.
Gotcha.
Reedley. I think it was up in Reedley. I think it was, or somewhere
somewhere
up north. Yeah. So my first thought was, he's up with a jet guy. So I was like, I wasn't bad mouthing him. Like, he just ran away. But no, he got stuck working. He had like a trip that happened that he has a job that he travels for a lot. Yeah, work got in the way.
Gets in the way of my hobbies.
I know, it's horrible. But no, he was there on Saturday, and it's just it wasn't like he left.
He didn't ditch you
for the real turbine jets. He was there. So
that's fine.
So my little interview with Bob and his goings on. We'll let talk, and then I'll fill you in on a couple of things.
All righty, perfect. Well, we're going to jump the story. Yes, no doubt. We're going to jump out to the field and see the two of you guys, and we will be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Shannon G from Mesa AZ here at the AZ Model Aviators EJet Days. And what's
Jet Days at the AZAMA.
Right, I said it backwards. I did it on purpose.
So yeah, we made it complicated.
Yeah. Here with my good friend Bob Ruff, who is the CD of the event, and give us a little history about this event, Bob.
Well, it started a number of years ago when the rules for the Arizona Jet Rally got modified to make it leaning more toward turbine than electric. Back then, electrics weren't as speedy.
Performance oriented.
Yeah, performance oriented. So we started this event for just any electric, 2 days in May. So we're the last event for the summer. Then the rules of the jet ride change is getting more popular back on the other side. So we're doing it both. So this is strictly electric, any size. We have anything from 50 millimeters up to 160 millimeters, Byron type, and all points in between. And it's open flying, just have fun and enjoy yourself.
And trust me, we've had a lot of fun so far. I've been here since yesterday with Bob, and we've got, as of right now, we have 23 registered pilots, which is a pretty good number. And the weather's been a little breezy, but I think it's beautiful. I mean, I've had no trouble flying. I don't think anybody really has.
And we have all sorts of planes, from foamies to ARFs to 3D printed, and all points all over.
So which brings me to the most important thing is Bob has kind of gone into business with 3D printing of jets. And we have an example behind us. If you want to tell us a bit about it, Bob.
Well, this is an F5. It's designed by, if I get the name right, Michael Buckler in Switzerland. He designed it. It's a 100 millimeter fan, 100% 3D printed, uses electron retracts. It is weighs 17.5 pounds, 12S, and it is an awesome flying jet. Takes about 200 hours to print. And originally he used lightweight PLA, but Arizona, that tends to melt under our heat. So we're using ABS. So we're probably a little heavier than his, but again, it flies awesome. It is plenty of power. I use a stream fan, Hacker 100 millimeter, which is basically a Weematech 100 millimeter with a Hacker motor. Hobby World, a speed controller, and the servos he recommended are all glider type fin servos, and well thought out. Like the horizontal has 4 ball bearings per side to support it. Everything, all the hinging, everything lines up. The push, it's just an awesome.
Yeah, and one of the cool things, I don't know if you can see it, is it actually has spots for the lights. So you can see there's one back over there. For the lights, so you can kind of rewire. Just put the wires in, plug the lights in, and it's right there.
Yeah, the ductwork's really in there for the lights.
I love F5s. So I think most of you guys have heard it at some point. So definitely looking at one of these for Bob to make me. And so, is it Keystone?
Keystone 3D RC Hobbies.
Okay, so do you have a website, anything yet, or you just?
Now we're working on it.
Okay, we're working on it.
We're getting there, but I have some stuff on RC groups that mentions it. I have permission. I have permission for these from the designers to sell the plastic. I'm not allowed to give them the files. You have to buy the files from them. You need that anyway to help you how to put it together.
Gotcha.
But I sell all the plastic for this. An S3 Viking, his F100, a T2 Buckeye. A gentleman in Lockheed in Australia has a bunch of quick build like T28s, Concords, sport jets, all sorts of. I mean, have your own files. I'll be glad to look into printing them for you. I have 5 printers right now, all bamboo, and as I'm enjoying myself.
That's good.
I'm retired now, so it gives me something to do. Watching printers print.
Help pay for the hobby too, right?
Yes, help pay for the hobby. But I'm having more printed planes now than the ones I bought.
Well, for me, as long as we've been in the hobby, there's always been a lot of innovation. There's when foamies first came out, everyone was making a foamy, and we're selling all kinds of little stuff. And this has kind of been like the next level of that, where people are starting to say, "Hey, we got all this 3D printed stuff we can do now, and we can monetize it and make a little money and keep enjoying the hobby."
And there's a lot of plane files out there that aren't available as kits. So if you're looking for a specific airplane, it's Cougar. It's a Sig Cougar. I did the main file for a Sig Cougar, and it's pretty much an exact copy of the wood version, except it's plastic.
wonderful plane.
And it flies very, very well on a 4S pack, 8-minute flights, and you name it, it does it.
That's awesome. I think so far we've only had a couple of crashes. You had one a little while ago, right?
Yeah, but that was a prototype 64mm Delta wing, and we had too much ailerons. Yeah. So it definitely was a little roll touchy. Yeah. But it survived. Basically just blue joints broke, so we just rebond that.
Yeah, and we had Steve Wingerson was flying his little
Skyray. He did a high-speed full throttle landing.
And it was, I want to call him Steve Austin now. Yes. It was like that scene at the beginning of $6 Million Man. If you ever watched that in the 70s of the plane tumbling down the runway, it was kind of like that.
Doing straight, then all of a sudden the wind wrecked it and started tumbling. Yeah. It was actually sad for the plane, but it was awesome to watch.
Yeah. We've got, so we got 23 pilots. We got Chicago Dogs coming out to provide us our wonderful lunch. They did yesterday, and it's just been a great weekend. It's 2 days, and it's also kind of the bookend, because we start the events, flying events at least, with the Jet Rally in November, and we end it with the EJet Day in May. So I think that's pretty cool that we do that, and I just love being a part of that. So trying to think what else is just lots of really cool jets. We had some guys come from Chino Valley up in the Prescott area that brought some really cool jets. Just a lot of our club members have brought out all their really cool E-jets, and it's sometimes a lot of guys they have both E-jets and they have turbines, and sometimes the turbine you get a little more performance per se.
But we've had a couple guys that didn't mean to interrupt, but we have about 2 or 3 turbine jets here that are not turbine, they're EDF.
Yeah.
And they fly just as well as the turbine did, and you don't have to worry about buying gas.
Yeah. Your top RC, Cougar, I would say.
Top RC, they have a couple Vipers. One guy has the Black Horse Viper Promotion, that's green-black. He has electric in it now, a 130mm fan. We have a guy flying a fiberglass Avante, that's turbine, that's flying a 14S, and it's doing great. And then all points in between, from little 50mm all the way up. So it's EDF's here to stay.
That's right. We love it. So, well, we're going to get actually back to flying.
Yes.
We got a few more hours. The weather is actually perfect right now. Just a little breeze right down the runway. I'm going to jump back into the studio with Jay and Mike, but from the EJet Days at the AZMA, I'm Shannon Gallagher and
Bob Ruff.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you back in the studio.
Have a great.
And we're back. It's easy to jump out to the field and back, and you do this kind of work, isn't it?
That's awesome. I know. It's like, I love having this Star Trek teleporter. That I can
is. Here we are again.
Yeah, we're back.
That's awesome. So, well, it sounds like everybody had a great time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was starting to get a little warm there on Saturday, and you could kind of hear there was just a lot of activity going on in the background, and just things going on. So, and that's what's awesome about these events. There's always something going on. We had a raffle. We had a couple of things. We gave away a couple Park Flyer shirts. Those were well received, and a couple of little things here and there. So not a big one, but we had one award, and that was for one of the guys, Steve Wingerson, and he has this little 3D printed F4D Skyray, the kind of Delta Wing Navy jet, but it takes off on a little trolley, and then it's just a belly lander. And I think it's a 64mm fan in it, but it's really cool. I mean, and that was a cool thing, which we talked about in the video. There was the number of 3D printed planes that were there.
Yeah, it sounded like there was a lot.
And just that's a subset of the EDF world now that's really growing, and I'm hoping to get more involved with that myself at some point. But this little thing took off. It flies good. It flies okay. It took like 2 or 3 times to get it off the little trolley. Sometimes it'll start to veer off to the wrong direction because it doesn't have everything, but you get off. So, he's flown this thing a couple times, and he comes in and he's coming in to land, and he's coming in literally at full throttle because it's just a belly lander. And he greased the landing, but something either like a little, even though we just redid the runway, a little rock or just the air, it just started to tumble down the runway like in the beginning of the $6 Million Man back in the 70s, with Steve Austin, a man barely alive.
Yeah, right.
So now, because of that, Steve Wingerson, we now call him Steve Austin.
Nice. Steve Austin. That's awesome. That's the way call signs are made anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
something happens and you get it stuck.
Yeah. After that, though, it was just it was kind of tapered off. We had guys from out of town. They were having a blast flying. They really enjoyed coming out to the field. We did have one little mishap. So this is after I left. We kind of the event was supposed to kind of go all day, but most of the guys had left. So one of the guys had a turbine. He's like, "Hey, can I find my turbine?" Okay, yeah, the event's over. Took off and crashed in a fire, and so it was contained pretty quickly. We ran out there. I didn't run out there, but the guys that were out there, they ran out there with shovels. That's the most important thing, especially out in the desert there. And it was on takeoff, so it just something went south, and it just went in. So I had about probably close to a gallon of I'm not sure if it was kerosene, but we don't like to post the videos of that stuff because we don't want bad press.
I know, but somebody always does.
Yeah. So we pulled that down pretty quick, but it was taken care of. And we notified the county like we're supposed to. So things happen. It doesn't. I don't think it deters us from the hobby, but they do happen. So we just got to be extra careful, especially out there in the desert, because it's it can get pretty. It can get bad.
Yeah, we're a prime example of that out of my field. We've had that happen once or twice, but
so we're always being very vigilant of that. So so the first thing is first thing water and extinguishers. Probably just get those
get all the burning parts into one pile.
Actually, it was Scott. It was Scott and Wyatt Wade, or some of our good friends that were the big kind of the heroes that ran out there to do that.
Good.
So big shout out to
well,
them.
kudos to them. Yeah, I saw Wyatt at the last event I think I was at, and almost didn't recognize him. He's growing like a weed.
Oh my gosh!
He walked by and I thought, he walked by. I thought, well, that looked like Wyatt, and then I was like, Wyatt, and he goes, "Oh, hey." I was like, "Hey, dude, where did you get?" It was like he like jumped up in height too. It was just like, wow, where did you get this growth spurt? So it was good seeing him and his dad too. So, I'm glad to see he's still
good family bonding there. So.
He flew a lot. He's really good. He's always love watching him fly.
Yeah, he's doing more car stuff though. So we had a little chat with about that. There's an indoor. I think there's an indoor car place that opened not too far from here, like kind of the Queen Creek area. And he's kind of doing some of that stuff. But hey, that's what I love about this hobby. You can play with cars one day, you can play with boats the other day, and helicopters, drones, jets.
Yeah, that's true.
Warbirds. Who knows what else? Yeah. Remote control dinosaurs next.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is how some of this stuff crosses over anyway, because it's, just because, especially for the builders, they can build, a car, ship, boat, rocket, you name it. RC fields are, kind of open to all. Yeah. So that's kind of neat.
And in my office, can't see everyone. I have a boat. It's one of my favorite, favorite things. I used to I was probably way more into boats back in the day, but just the times they are changing. So
I was telling my wife the other day. I said, "Hey, I got a great idea for a little side business for us," and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And I said, "I saw it on the on YouTube, or one of the things the guy sent me, and it was a couple of guys, and they were playing with little miniature heavy equipment toys." Type, Tonker toys, but they have a whole setup. So the guys are out there, they're building something, they're hauling the material away, they're coming in, they're dumping the stuff out. And I was like, well, you could actually give these guys, measurements where they're supposed to dump everything and, and the whole 9 yards, and they can get a score as to how well they're driving the equipment. And I was amazed because I'd never really seen that stuff before. I've seen it once or twice, but not like to that level. And I started looking at some of the gear that they're replicating. These guys are off the charts when it comes to this heavy equipment. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
got a D8
I was thinking of having just a little what do you call it? Not like a sandbox, not like a bar, but like a coffee place. You go and have a cup of coffee, and then you run front end loader. Or you go in there and you do a thing and you're doing, quick drink, bring your son in, have some fun.
Didn't we find a video that the guy actually did that? He had like a coffee or some kind of like a smoothie bar or something, and there was like a whole section, and guys could run their little RC cars around. It was like a big sandbox, and they could just move dirt around. It was hilarious because, most coffee shops, you think of, the women going to Starbucks or whatever, most.
They were all dudes in there.
All guys sitting around in this coffee shop running these big,
all dudes coffee shop, right? No.
Yep. Construction coffee. That's
all RC dudes coffee shop. So
there you go.
Yeah, construction coffee. I think that's a good name, construction coffee. Yeah. So there you go. But that is kind of neat that everything crosses over. We had one of our guys had a big discussion. I think Jay and I are on an email chain, and they were talking about the DJI and flying the quads, and there's a lot of guys that do that, and FPV, and with all the changes that are coming and the things that are happening on that side. But it's still so much fun to go out to the field to fly. I'm in the process of building this new airplane, and it's just, it's kind of something to look forward to. So I think the crossover for all these guys, they have an option of whatever it is they want to do. And some guys will have 2 or 3. I mean, I was not really a helicopter guy. I didn't fly them all the time, but I had 3 or 4, and I had a gyrocopter. And so, it's kind of fun to do the crossover yourself. So I get it. Because I had a truck at some point too. All that stuff was gone, but I did have it. So it was kind of fun to play around with. Especially here in Arizona, because, at my property, I got 5 acres out there. I can just drop something in the parking lot or in the driveway and just go scoot around the dirt, Yeah. So
we could build a racetrack at your place.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we could do a little racetrack.
Get you that motorcycle that Horizon Hobbies has.
Oh, dude, I told you that I demoed that, right? We were at an event. Oh yeah, we were at an event, and it's a low C. Have you seen them? Shannon?
James had one.
Did he have one? Okay, yeah.
So, we ran that thing up and down the runway. It was hilarious.
Yeah, so we were out at I think we were at Buttonwillow out at the Best in the West, and John Gearhart had it, and he brought it out, and oh my gosh, we were like a bunch of schoolgirls. We were laughing so hard, and they've got a big dirt area, so we played with that thing until it got dark outside, and then we're playing with it in the dark. Like everybody's got their phones out holding it, and it'd zip out and come back, and it was amazing. I really am impressed with the designers of that little motorcycle thing. But yeah, you're right, Jay. If I got it at my house, which maybe when I get back in, that'll be something I'll splurge for instead of, whatever airplane I couldn't get, then I could probably pick something up like that. But it is fun. And I did have a riot driving that thing around. It was so much fun.
Excellent.
I wanted to build bigger jumps, because we only had like this little hump and you jump off it. And I'm like, man, we could build something like 3 feet tall and see how far we could get this thing to go, and they're just looking at me like,
that's
oh,
what that
man.
heavy equipment that you have at the house is for.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
Get that tractor moving. Speaking of which, my house looks like empty. It's all gutted now, so it's pretty crazy to actually walk over there and see it. But they did start on the Jay, you'll be really happy. They started on my RV garage in my shop, so they were removing everything. And here it is. This happened back in December, and they're just now getting to it. But I wanted so bad. I was torn. I wanted to be there to watch it, and I didn't want to be there to watch it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because I really felt like as I watched it, like I literally walked in and they were dragging my my big sim chair and all my sim equipment right in the dumpster, and I just was like, no, I don't want to be here anymore. My wife's like, is it going to hurt standing here watching all that stuff? And I was like, yes, it is. So I was there for a little bit, and then I just jumped in the car and left. So it was kind of heartbreaking, but I didn't want to just go in there and just go, oh, let me have that, because it's not like I can do anything with it. Most of it's destroyed. The hardest part for me was just the memories of everything going out the door, because they were hauling the Cub out, and we built the Cub was on our webpage and our business card for so many years, And, Jay and I have a lot of history with that thing, believe it or not. That thing came all the way from Alaska, and then, we put it together, and I got the big cut on my arm because of that stupid airplane. We flew it around. We had to, the battery fell out and slid to the back when we were flying it. Every time Jay and I were together flying that Cub, something major would happen. And then to see it just walk right out the door, it just broke my heart. I just was like, I can't be here. Watch this. So we went back yesterday, and it's all gone. So now it looks like a big clean slate. And my wife asked me, she's like, "Are you going to get all that stuff back in here? Or are you going to leave it a clean slate?" And I'm like, I don't know. Depends. I go, do you remember my friend Shannon and Jay? They're both enablers. And she's like, yeah, you're right.
I don't know why she asks questions like that. Like she's.
I got lots of stuff here. I'll gladly.
Donate them.
Guys.
I'm just going to get a whole picture. I'll put it right here as a memorial, and that's all. That's all I need, honey.
That's funny. I know Shannon's like, wow, he's got a lot of room over there. I'll move my stuff over there. Yeah. Here, you can just borrow this for a while. That's funny, but.
So are they going to build it exactly like it was, or are you going to change anything, or how's that work?
Well, that's a good question. Some of the stuff is being changed just because of the fact that it's 5 years old, and they don't make some of it anymore. Gotcha. If that's what you're talking about, is like the tile. They don't make that tile anymore. They've already moved on, and so we're not going to have same tile. The cabinetry that was in my house, they don't make that color combination anymore, so we have to pick new cabinetry.
Gotcha.
But yeah, as far as like the rest of the stuff, we're gonna, I'll get my bedroom will go back the way it was, or my living room. My living room will be a little different, but yeah, from the house perspective, it'll go back. Majority of it will go back the way it was, and there'll be some slight changes just because of necessity. So, as far as all my stuff. There was a lot of stuff that I had that you just can't get anymore. I just had a lot of airplanes that people gave me that either came from, like a lot of the world model stuff is not available. Some of the Horizon owns Hangar 9, but Hangar 9 doesn't, they have different airplanes. They don't have some of the airplanes that they had in the past. And I owned a couple of those. Nitro planes, I had a couple of those. That company's not in business anymore. So some of the Motion RC stuff I'll probably pick back up. I like I said, I've been toying around with getting the A10 again and just pulling it around because I love that airplane so much. And, maybe a couple of other ones, the L39, I really like that. Turbine wise, maybe I pick something new. I don't go back with the L39. I go with something that's comparable, because they'll replace it, but it's got to be equal to or comparable to it. So
gotcha.
So maybe I'll, choose something different. But although the only thing that I think, I didn't get to fly the F-86, so I think I may pull that one back out and try to fly the F-80, get that one and then go fly the F-86. So, but anyway, we are running short of time. We appreciate all your hard work, Shannon, for going out there and talking to Bob and giving us an update on EJet Days. For those of you that were in attendance, we hope you had a great time. If you weren't, then, keep us in mind for Big Jolt and Warbirds and Classics, because I think Shannon's going to
have a good time. It's your own fault.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I can honestly say that is very true. If you didn't have a good time, it's on you, not on us, because I think everybody has just a great time. And I know even me going out and hanging out with you guys was fun when I did it out on this end. So. Even when I didn't bring something to fly, I had a good time. So yeah, we've got some events coming up. Jay, you've got AK Mike there with you, and you guys are going to have some good time there. And
a thing or two out of this, out of the room here, and we went flying for. We've been flying for a day or two, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm realizing not having storage space and trying to find your stuff is. Mm-hmm. Really hard.
Yeah, because you're taking something and sticking it over here, and then you're like,
and then the next thing you put it over here, I'm like, oh man, where did I put that thing?
Downsizing is terrible, dude. Trust me, I know. We did that once before. Shannon, anything this week other than what we mentioned? You got you going out to you were out of the field yesterday, right? or today?
Yeah, we had our board meeting yesterday, and today was Mother's Day, so didn't
yeah. Today is Mother's Day.
But we got a EF1 race next Sunday, but I'll probably go out Saturday and fly something. I'm hopefully gonna have the Sukhoi back up and flying by next Saturday.
Good.
So
well, good. Yeah, if you do that, we'll definitely hear about that, and definitely give us an update. So, right. But for now, I'm Michael from Arizona,
and I'm Jay, flying high in the low country of South Carolina,
and Shannon G in Mesa AZ.
That was smooth. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Let's fly.
That was smooth, bro. I liked it.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.